wait until a similar crime several years or decades down the path? Or why a turn at all, rather than many gradual course corrections? The exact nature of the crime-outrage-reform dynamic can take many forms, and we will explore those differences as we work through some of the most important cases of the past century. Each case is, in some ways, unique, but there are repeating patterns that can offer important insights about how change comes and how, in the future, we might best manage it. But what these extraordinary cases have in common is that all of them deal with crimes that changed our world. Chapter 1. 1911 Triangle Factory Fire. Building Safety Codes. It is a pleasant, early spring afternoon, and you are standing on the sidewalk at 27 Washington Place in New York City. The building in front of you is a beautiful neo-Renaissance specimen, 10 stories tall, situated on the corner of Green Street and Washington Place on the New York University campus. Hundreds of people use it every day in comfort and safety. If you were standing at that same spot on the early spring afternoon of March 25, 1911, at 4:45 p.m., you would be dodging an onslaught of burning, screaming bodies, mostly of young women. The crowd in the street around is also screaming, but some of this is drowned out by the roar of the fire on the top 3 floors of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. Young women are hanging out of the windows and standing on ledges, trying to escape the flames. In many cases, their dresses are already on fire. Like watching a suicide jumper, but times 100, you are helpless to do anything. The flaming bundles are now falling in doubles and triples, all hitting the pavement with a sickening thud. When the reign of horror is over, 146 people are dead. Perhaps most striking about the horrific event is that there is nothing terribly unusual about the factory on the upper floors. It is like hundreds of other factories in the city. The building's facade looks the same today as it did 100 years ago, but it is very different on the inside. Its safety and comfort is as typical of today's buildings as the danger of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory was common in the factories of its day. How did we get from there to here? In large measure, it was due to the horror of those falling, flaming bodies. The tragedy. On the afternoon of March 25, 1911, as the sun sinks toward the west over the New York City skyline, a fire breaks out in the 10-story Ash building. The top 3 floors of the building are occupied by 600 employees, mostly young women of the Triangle Shirtwaist Company. True to its name, the company manufactures shirtwaists, a type of women's blouse or dress with details similar to those in men's shirts. It is about 15 minutes before the 5 o'clock closing time. Someone drops a still-burning cigarette into a wood box under one of the cutting tables on the 8th floor. The box is filled with cloth cuttings that ignite. Workers at the cutting tables run to get buckets of water to extinguish the fire. The company has some 27 buckets of water distributed through the 30,000 square feet of its 3 floors. Before they can extinguish the flames, the fabrics hanging on a wire above the cutting tables catch fire. The factory is perfectly designed to fuel a massive fire. The floors, tables, and chairs are all made of wood. Cotton cloth in bolts, half-finished garments, and piles of scraps are everywhere. The sewing machines drip oil that coagulates on the factory floor. Flammable fabrics and templates are everywhere. The factory is practically built to burn. And it does. The fire is quickly out of control, far beyond the reach of a few buckets of water. In theory, there are several routes of escape: 2 staircases, a fire escape, and 2 elevators. But the reality is different. One of the stairwells is locked. Management locks the door to prevent employees from taking breaks without permission or stealing company property.